Hey, what's up shiitake mushrooms? This is X2OP here with a list of all the Nat 3s you guys can consider building and why. I'm making this video because I actually get a lot of questions from beginners of Summoner's War coming onto the stream asking me, they just summoned a bunch of monsters. There's probably 1 or 2 Nat 4s, but most of them are Nat 3s, and which one of the Nat 3s that they should consider keeping and which one is safe to feed. There's a lot of information out there on Nat 4s, Nat 5s, OP monsters like those, but not so much on Nat 3s, but actually natural 3 stars are going to be the majority of your monster box for most people. Even if you're paid to play, most of your monster box probably going to consider mostly of natural 3 stars. So a lot of these Nat 3s are going to be monsters that are going to help you progress in a particular section of the game. So there's always a reason to keep these monsters, and I'll state the specific reason why you want to keep and build them as we go through each monster. Just a disclaimer though, this is not a video for experienced players, because a lot of the experienced players probably already know some of these natural 3 stars, and by the time you get to mid game and late game, you already have a lot of the Nat 5s or Nat 4s that can pretty much replace some of these Nat 3 monsters on this list. So anyway, if you've been playing for a while, you may this probably would not be the video for you, but if you just started and would like to know which Nat 3s to keep and which Nat 3s to feed, then this is the perfect video for you. Also, another disclaimer, I'm gonna skip the most common, the most popular Nat 3s like Megan, Bernard, Bella, Darien, and Spectra, monsters like that everybody already talks about, everybody already knows to keep and build. This is really for those natural 3-star monsters that's not often talked about, that can actually help your progression. Anyway, I hope this video is helpful. If you enjoyed watching this video, let me know if this video format is good and informative. There's a lot of things I'm trying to do to improve the quality of my videos, so any feedback and any review will help. Anyway, enough rambling, let's get this started. There's no particular order, but I have grouped them into the different areas that you will use the monsters in. So let's take a look at the monster collection. Okay, so first let's talk about farming monsters. Most of the farming monsters like Ryok, which is Nat 3, you guys will probably know about, right? Ryok here, the Fire Inugami, is not a bad monster to farm Fame and Hell, Fame and Hard. But for example, you don't have Ryok and you don't want to really spend a lot of time on Fame to farm for this guy. Eventually you'll get him, but which monster would you want to build if you don't have Ryok and you want to start farming Fame and Hard or Fame and Hell right away? So first off, there's the Fire Grim Reaper. So for South here, the Fire Grim Reaper, the reason he's good because he has similar to Annihilate on Ryok, but it's only on the first skill, not as a passive. Every time he kills a monster with this skill, he gets another turn. Okay, he has 2 AoEs, which is great. This actually kind of makes him better than Ryok because he can finish off waves a lot faster with 2 AoEs. His third skill creates a living hell for enemies and disturbs HP recovery. So this is just a AoE skill, does quite a bit of damage if you have the right runes on him. And also here's a deadly swing that always lands at a critical hit, which is great. So you can max out on crit damage on Soth here. If the enemy is HP is lower than 30, right? So you still need some crit rate on him, but anyway, with 2 AoEs and this gain an extra turn ability, he's really great for farming Fame. The only thing to be aware of, his speed is, he's one of the slowest monsters in the game. You really need some speed on him in order for him to go before the creep wave. Makes the run a lot safer and a lot faster. Okay, so just need some speed on him, probably speed, crit damage, attack, if you have above 55% crit rate. Yeah, so this is a very good monster. So next, also for Fame and Hell, or Fame and Hard. Sorry, this is actually mainly for Fame and Hard. Same thing with Soth. These Nat 3s are mainly for Fame and Hard. For Fame and Hell, you probably need stronger monsters like Lapis. Yeah, so once you get Lapis, everybody gets a Lapis. These Nat 3s are actually probably going to get replaced by her. But let's say you don't want to build a Nat Lapis. A good choice would be the Water Shark. What he gets is a self-heal. Every time he kills someone with his passive, he can heal up himself for the amount of damage that was dealt, right? So very helpful in farming. He can have the self-heal, self-preservation, which will help him tank the oncoming waves, right? So also he's water, so the Seeks and the Ryoks would most likely do a glancing hit on him. His attacks, he attacks the enemy, decreasing attack power and attack speed, and then gets a continuous damage if this lands as a critical hit. So the Water Charger Shark, built him right, he has pretty decent speed, is very good for farming Fame and Hell. Sorry, Fame and Hard. I keep on saying Hell. Fame and Hard. Maybe not so. He can do Fame and Hard if he has good enough runes, but if you have that good of a rune set, by that time you probably want to put it on someone like Lapis instead, who can do it much faster. Speaking about Charger Sharks, another great monster to build would be Xiphicus for farming Aiden Forest hard. Probably not on Hell. But on hard, Xiphicus should be able to manage no problem. He's a great farmer with his self buff. This is kind of like a Rakan self buff. He self buffs his attack speed and power, and then gets another instant turn. So since it's 3 turns, you get plenty of time with him with a boosted attack power and attack speed. He can lunge at the enemies, drive, so these two skills are the same thing as the Water Shark we just talked about. He is pretty decent for Aiden Forest farming. Nat 3s are not such a great choice for your farming monster. There's a lot better Nat 4s that is farmable that you can get, like Lapis. Lapis is, for beginners, is probably the most perfect farming monster for you guys. There's no reason not to use Lapis. You get her for free. She has a AoE on her first attack. But again, these are the few Nat 3s that you guys may want to use if you don't have Lapis yet, or if you accidentally fed her, or if you just don't want to build her. So let's go on to the dungeon monsters. Monsters that will be good in dungeons, that will help you guys get more stable or faster runs in your giants, dragons, or necro. The first monster I like to talk about is Water Cowgirl. So for the beginners out there, you don't have her as a gift from Contuos. This is a gift, I believe it was from an event almost a year ago, or more than a year ago, that Contuos gave every player a Water Cowgirl. But the reason why she's so good is because she gets 6 shots on the boss in Necro. She has 6 shots on her 3rd skill. That is a ton of hits off of the Necro shield, right? Her second ability has 2 shots, and her first ability has 3 shots. So this is a lot of multi-attacks for Necro, very great for taking out the Necro shield, along with some great bonuses like decreased attack speed, which is one of the most important debuffs for Necro, because Necro limits the speed, so everybody's slowed down to the boss's level, kind of like Leo. Therefore, that's why attack speed buffs don't work too well, but attack speed decreases on the boss is great. With that, you can get more turns in against the boss before he moves again or steals your unit. So Water Cowgirl is a very, very great unit for Necro that a lot of endgame players are building her just to do Necro. Another strong monster in water here that is good for dungeons is Yaku, the Imp Champion. So before it was the 2-star water imp called I think it was, yeah, it's a 2-star water imp. What's his name? The 2-star water imp Finn. Now it's the 3-star Imp Champion, so don't get that mixed up. There's Imp Champion and Imp. Imp Champion is the one with the helmet. Yeah, the Imp Champion is the one with the helmet and is 3-star. Finn is 2 stars. This is not a farm. So how the easier way to tell the difference between the two is Finn will have the fusion icon on him when you get him. Yaku will not, because it's not a fusion material. But Yaku is really good because he has 5 chances on ignoring the monster's defense. This is actually pretty good on Necro as well, not just dragons. So Yaku could possibly be used for all 3 dungeons. He's water, so he's good against the dragon, the DB10 dragon, which is fire. Won't glance against the water giant, and won't glance against the dark necro. So good for all 3 dungeons. 5 attacks consecutively takes down the necro shield, but also ignores defense, which will do a lot of damage against the giant, especially with the giants with the defense buff on the giant. Also, the second ability inflicts damage on max HP, which is really great for boss monsters. Does a ton of damage and scales with their max HP. So for the same amount of rune level, especially if you're in the beginning, Yaku will do a lot more damage than your regular nuker. And then second is a self attack power buff, which is always great. And he has a lot of continuous damage too, which is, you know, always great against bosses when they have so much HP. So Yaku is a very great monster for dragons, giants, and sometimes even necro. Endgames players use Yaku purely for dungeons, so it is not a mistake to 6-star a Yaku and build him. Will really help your runs. Just be careful. He is a bit squishy with pretty low HP as a Nat 3 monster, especially as an attack Nat 3 monster. So you probably need to build some HP and defense on him. Okay, next. Another great monster in water that is great for giants and great for dragons is Shylock. So where's Shylock? Shylock is a water serpent. So Shylock is very great because he can decrease attack bar on all the enemies. The AoE decrease attack bar that scales on his HP. You can use Shylock to build. You can build a Shylock HP all day. He'll deal more damage based on his HP for, I believe, it's all 3 of his attacks. It scales on HP. Sorry, except for the first one. Second and third attack all scales on HP. Very great monster in giants and dragons. First, he can remove beneficial effect. So in giants, you can remove the attack or defense buff, and in dragons, you can remove the immunity, which is super great. Makes the dragon runs a lot more stable. You can put in a lot more damage with defense break on the dragon, and also his second ability. Chance to decrease attack bar again. So Shylock is a really great monster for giants and dragons. Not so great at versus Mantura, who has a defense break in terms of speed teams, but as a beginner for a stable team, Shylock is great. Okay, so speaking about Mantura, let's go on to view Shylock's brother here, Mantura. Mantura is great for both TOA and dungeons. This is a great monster if you're lucky enough to get him from a Lion Dark Scroll. Why? First of all, again, like Shylock, he can remove beneficial effects, right? Super useful in giants and dragons. He can also decrease the attack speed of all enemies. AoE decrease attack speed, similar to Spectra, except he doesn't decrease the attack bar, just the attack speed debuff, which is still great. And also the Stark Blast scales to his HP. And Mantura also has the Poison Mist that also decrease defense against everybody, AoE defense break, which will really help in speed runs, right? And also proportion to HP. So Mantura is a great unit for TOA because he also has the continuous damage on his third AoE continuous damage, paired very well with Beretta. So this is Mantura. Next, we have Joffrey. Joffrey is mainly good for dragons here. Where's Joffrey? Joffrey. So we've seen Joffrey in Jubagel's dragon team. If you haven't seen it, I recommend checking out his video on his dragon teams. He uses a lot of the underrated Nat 3s for dragons. In his video, he showcases Joffrey, who Why is he good for dragons? Because he can steal a beneficial effect as a passive. So every one of his attacks will have a chance of stealing the beneficial effect, right? Recovers HP by 30% of the inflicted damage, also stealing one beneficial effect. So he has a self-sustain. Which is very helpful in dragons, so he doesn't wipe. Have a defense. Yeah, attacks an enemy and decreases the enemy's defense for 2 turns. The damage increases according to your current HP situation, right? Which is great because he recovers HP, so this synergizes very well with his passive. And on his first skill, he can inflict continuous damage for 3 turns. So continuous damage, again, very great for boss monsters because they have so much HP. Continuous damage does a lot more against boss monsters than your regular opponents. So with a defense break, with a beneficial effect stealing, and with continuous damage, Joffrey is a very good choice for dragons. Let's go ahead and talk about another fire unit that's good for dragons. Raccoony. Right? Raccoony is the relatively new monster. Raccoony, if you didn't know already, does a lot of the attack boosting. Kind of like Vertiheal as a passive. So removes up to 2 harmful effects. Very great for giants. Very great for dragons, removing the dots so the dragon does less damage on you. Of the ally with the lowest HP. So Rabbit's agility fills up the ally's attack bar to the max and increases the target's attack speed for 2 turns. So it's kind of like Konamiya, where he surges the attack bar of a ally and also increases the attack speed, which is also something that would pair very well with a Vertiheal on the Dragon's team. Think about it. Vertiheal boosts everybody's attack bar. Raccoony goes, fills up Vertiheal's attack bar again, and then he does another 40% boost on attack bar for the rest of the units on your team. It's very great. And also increases the attack bar of the ally with the lowest attack bar for his first attack. So Raccoon is very great monster for dragons as a nat 3. And then finally, let's go to another fire monster who is great for Necro. Her name is Lukasha, the Fire Harpy. Where is she? So the Fire Harpy, maybe have seen this on some Necro runs on YouTube, with 6 hits on the 3rd skill, attack multiple times. I'm actually not sure how many attacks this is, multiple enemies at once. So this probably, I'm actually not sure how many attacks this is on Necro itself, if there's no multiple enemies, if there's just one. And also she has the defense break, right? So this Crow Hunt actually does a pretty good, so this Crow Hunt actually can do pretty decent damage against the Necro. The Crow Hunt is also good because when this Necro steals your ally, she does Crow Hunt. That Crow Hunt damage can be the determining factor of killing the ally and making him return back onto your team, right? While attacking the Necro at the same time. But really, this attack 6 times here is great for taking off the Necro shields. So Lukasha is decent for Necro, used a lot, even for endgame players using Lukasha. I think Shredded Puzzle used Lukasha on his Necro team. Okay, so those are for the dungeon monsters. There are other great Nat 3 monsters, but I think those are the most notable ones. The other ones, are pretty obvious, like Bernard and Bella. Everybody uses them already. Okay, so finally, let's talk about some TOA units, right? TOA units, let's go back to water, actually, before we, so Hemos, right? Hemos is very great for TOA, a lot of continuous damage here, 2 continuous damage for 2 turns, right? Really strong, right? So that's 20% damage in total, so very similar to Beretta. If you pair him with Beretta, that's 40% of the HP ticked off just from dots in total within 2 turns. So it does a ton of damage against TOA, especially in TOA hard. The second one is Frozen Soul, a single target CC, not bad. So if you have TOA and if your Veramos is missing a stun on a single target in TOA hard, and you really don't want that guy to move, for example, if it's Economia that cleans everybody else out, you use the Frozen Soul, freeze that Economia, and make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure everybody still gets inflicted by the Plague, by Beretta's dots, and continuously apply your stuns, apply your debuffs, so that you can maintain crowd control in TOA. Right, so Hemos is very good, very similar to Hemos, his brother Thrain, who is better, right? Thrain is pretty much a better version than Hemos in every single way. He has the stun, so if you have dots on the units, which you almost always do in TOA hard or TOA normal, Thrain will AoE stun them. There's a chance he may not AoE stun everybody, so this is random. This is not AoE stunning all the entire enemy team. It's random. He picks and chooses. But most of the time, you probably get 3 or 4 units, which is really great to keep everybody crowd controlled. Especially if you pair it with Veramos. Veramos will clean up. Veramos will stun the remaining ones who still remain unstunned after he uses Doomsday. Right? So, and even in PvP situations, Thrain's Doomsday can do quite a bit of damage. Not as much damage as his light version brother Prom, but Thrain is better in TOA, right? Because he has the Plague, which Prom doesn't. Prom has the Deadly Swing, very similar to Soth that we talked about in the beginning of the video. Prom is better in PvP, and Thrain is better in TOA. Okay, and the very last monster that we're going to talk about is Kroa. Where is he? So Kroa is another Harg, 3-star Harg. So this increased attack speed and recovers HP for each turn for 3 turns. So increased attack speed for 3 turns. Very great in TOA. And recovers HP, a nice heal. I believe that HP of recovery will go up to 35% if you skill him up. I'm not too sure. I don't have a Kroa myself. Woodvine attacks decrease the target's attack bar by 50% with 70% chance and decrease attack speed. Right. So this is great. Woodvine, very great CC against the boss because it slows and decreases attack speed. And decrease their attack gauge. So their attack gauge goes down to 25%, and since they're slower, it takes much longer for them to recover that and gain a turn after you land your Woodbine. So this is very similar to Beretta's second skill. And also, the good thing is it scales to Kroa's defense. So you can build him tank, and he'll still do some decent damage. But look, TOA hard, the damages don't matter. It's all about the dots. The enemies have too much HP, too much defense. And then the first one, increase attack bar of the lowest ally by 15%. Just gives you more turns. Paired really well with Verti Heal. If you have Mav and you don't have attack bar booster, put Kroa in and he'll be your attack bar booster. Not as great as Bernard or Verti Heal, but you have Mav and you're gonna CC everybody, right? So a lot of times you don't need to bring an attack bar booster into your hard. You just bring in Mav and Kroa, and you'll be good. And Kroa is very great for TOA. Has really great skill sets for TOA. Very useful. Okay. So that is the end of this video. I know I must have missed a few units, or you guys may disagree on a few units. That's okay, but the purpose of the video is to compile a rather large list of Nat 3s that, especially for beginners, you guys can consider building with some very good units that can help you progress throughout the game, especially these dungeon units that you guys may be missing some key units for dungeon, and you think you can't do DB10, you think you can't do Giants B10, but maybe you guys have some of these Nat 3s in storage or just summoned and don't even know that they can actually help you in the areas that you need help on. I purposely left out raid monsters, because I feel that raids are for more endgame players. After you finish B10 dragons and giants and you can do them consistently, then start thinking about raids, right? As beginners, raid is really a waste of time, because first of all, it'll take you a very long time to finish a raid, so it's not very time efficient. It's not very energy efficient, because there's a lot of chances that you're gonna fail if you don't have a reliable party. And third, if you don't have the good runes, there's no point of getting the grindstones. The grindstones will not help you if you put them on shitty runes. So for all those reasons, I believe raids is for more endgame or late mid-game players. If you're a beginner, focus on dragons, focus on giants. And that's why I left Nat 3 monsters that could be good for raids in this video. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this was X2OP. Joining on Twitch. Join me on Twitch while I'm streaming to get your account reviewed, so I can give you some general directions on where you would like to go, what monsters you should be working on. And really, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it informative. See you guys next time.